I've heard of stories of guys who they studying, their parents send them money to go to school, but then they're using that money to take the girlfriend out on vacations and stuff like that. So you're creating an illusion into this girl's life. And then she's thinking, wow, my guy is balling and stuff. Whereas in reality, you're not balling, you're broke, bro.
You are.
So if you're gonna choose to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you need to look beyond the superficial. You need to look beyond the I love you. You need to ask yourself, can I commit to this person every single day? What we fail to understand with that is we want fast stuff.
Yeah.
You see?
I mean, 30 seconds video today.
Yeah.
30 minutes one.
Reels.
A life based on reels. Very big that, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you wondering if that relationship is worth pursuing? Or should you even keep on going after that lady or that man? I mean, if you're in that situation right now, I got you. Hi, everybody. Here it's Elie Lokosha. Today in our episode of From High to I Do, I have a privilege to receive a very wonderful couple, the Shambas. So without further ado, I'd like you to discover them. They will tell you about what they have went through. I mean, some of the signs of a relationship that's worth pursuing. How are you guys doing?
Thank you so much for having us.
Good.
Are you very good?
Yes.
All right.
I'm very good too, and we are good.
Yes.
All right. Just tell me a little bit about you so people get to know you. Who are you? I mean, why should even people listen to you? You know?
That's a good question.
Do you want to go first?
No, gentlemen first.
Well, they always say ladies first, but they're just reversing the roles now to saying gentlemen first. Anyway, as the head of the house.
Exactly. I was about to say that. You as the head, so you go first.
So as the head of the house, my name is Mike, Mike Shamba. Actually, a lot of people don't know that my full name basically is Michael. So I was just
Oh, like
shortened it
Angel.
yeah. Okay. I just shortened it to Mike. And a lot of people know me as Mike. Plus my surname, Mike Shamba. And this is my wife, Miss Shamba. Well, what do? We got married not long ago, 2022, 1st of October. I can't remember the date. I must remember the dates.
Okay.
The dates.
That sounds like
Really? Yeah. It's a days that I can never forget. We are basically founders of a ministry called the Elie Ministry. The ministry that started not long ago. For now, we still are fellowshipping online for all the online people. You can just join us and become members or join us, fellowship with us on our various platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Beside that, on a personal level, my wife works. I'm a businessman. I've been a businessman for the rest of my life.
oh,
I did study mechanical engineering, but then it happened that I found myself in the business sector. Um, I've been doing quite a lot of things. It's just that currently I took a bit of a role of a man in the background, because for those that know me, I used to run quite a lot of master classes, business master classes. I used to travel almost everywhere in the country to run business master classes, where we're just helping entrepreneurs to kickstart their businesses and grow their businesses. But for now, I'm trying to build something, not something different. Both of them will merge together. As time goes on, we'll be able to know. But it's not about me today, it's about us. Anyway, I was just trying to give that brief of an explanation.
this is what I've got. The man bows talks.
When the man of the house talks and when pastors or motivational speakers talk.
Especially that first one, pastors. You know that this one. No.
You need to
Yeah.
put a time on it.
Yeah. But anyway, today it's all about us.
Mm.
Thank you so much. I guess the introduction went as deep as you wanted it to.
This is perfect. I don't know if she has anything to add.
I'm Liz. I studied commercial law. That's what I studied, and I'm currently working. I'm a mom and I'm a wife.
Mm.
So that's about that.
Oh. And how has the marriage feel been like so far? How's it been like?
You wanna go first, please?
From the single life to the marriage,
the transition.
the transition.
Well, it's an adjustment. I would say it's an adjustment, but more than anything, it's a learning curve. And there's a lot of learning involved, a lot of sacrifices involved. But I think if you have a good foundation from like your relationship, and all of that, it sort of transitions you better into marriage. Obviously, it's not the same, but how it's been going for us, it's been going good. A lot of communication, a lot of check-ins that we need to do. But other than that, it's been going well, from us just being the two of us to building a family and all of that. That's what I'm saying is that you have to constantly be learning, you are constantly learning.
Just mention something. You said from the relationship into marriage. So literally you started somewhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And talking about where you started, how actually you got to a point where you realize that this one, I think it's a relationship that we should pursue to get into the covenant of marriage. As we're talking about signs of a relationship that is worth pursuing. So at what time in that previous relationship, which you can actually talk about, whether it was, I don't know, a brother and sister in Christ, or it was a friendship, or it was a business, partnership or something like that. Maybe you can talk about it. And how did you realize that, you know what, this is it. We need to transition to the other side.
Just as she was talking, the whole transition stage, I think it becomes easier when the two of you get to know each other. I think a lot of couples, mostly for those that get into marriage, and then somehow they say, "Well, you're not like you used to be before," or it feels like I've married a different person, or something like that. For me, I think it all comes down to the idea of the lack of getting to know the person that you're with, especially in the courtship or dating stage.
Yeah.
It's important for y'all guys to invest into knowing each other. A lot of people, especially single people, they invest into the funnel. They invest into the activities that they have to do together as couples. Well, it is great to do activities because they kind of get you guys to bond together. But for me, I think it goes beyond just the activities or the fun or the memories that you guys want to create for each other while going out to the movies, going out to the restaurant. For some of them are going out for vacations, although when we're growing up, such things, were forbidden. Because how would you travel with somebody that you're not married, to?
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, it just goes beyond that. It's more about trying to understand the person that you are involving yourself with. That's what I meant. That's what I meant by getting to know the person. And that statement has become more of a cliche in a sense that people say, "Well, I want to get to know her," or "I want to get to know him." But in reality, you don't really put the investment into getting to know the person. You are basically just having activities with the person instead of pushing a little bit further. Get to know what is their temperaments, what is the goal or the driving force within that person. Because I think for me, I think that's one of the biggest element when looking at a person, or when wanting to get to be involved with a person for marriage purposes, wanting to understand what is the driving force of this person. What is that one thing that pushes this person to be the best the best version of themselves.
Mm, mm,
You know, and a lot of us fail to identify those particular point or that particular point. What is that thing that drives this person? What is that thing that makes this person to become alive? What is that thing that keeps this person alive? What is that thing that that when you connect with, or when you connect with, it kind of brings life into him, and then you as the partner need to know how to push that button so that the person can be the version that you want them, or the version that they were meant to be.
Mm.
So for me, the transition stage becomes easier when the two couples, or when the two people begin to understand themselves on higher level than just the norms of having fun, going out and stuff like that. It goes beyond that.
So it's literally like you identifying certain factors or certain aspect of that person, then you try to reinforce them.
Absolutely. Well, if we have to look at it into scripture references, you will see that, as the scripture says, woman was created for man,
Mm.
and the New Testament, it says that we're both created for each other. And then when you look at into the Garden of Eden, man was created first, and then man was given a purpose by God, which was to cultivate the land and dominate, and we all know the pronouncement of God's blessings upon man: dominate, multiply, have control, all that. And then right after that, then God made the man to sleep, and then created the woman out of man. And then what did he say to the man and the woman? That this is your helper. This is your helper. So helping what? Well, helping the person in what? Helping the person in the purpose that God had given him. So basically, also the role of a man is to also understand that the woman was created as my helper, so that he can also be able to trigger those particular attributes into a woman, so that she can be able to help him properly. You see that? So it goes beyond, as I said, it goes beyond just the norms or the normal things that we do. It goes into the aspect of understanding the role, the purpose of the person that you are engaging with, so that you can be able to trigger those purposes, so that the person can become better, the best version of who they are. Vice versa. Not only for a woman to help the man, but also for a man to also push those buttons in order for the woman to become the best helper.
Oh, very interesting. You want to add something?
I mean, simply put, for me, the transition comes in the sense of when you, like you put it, because marriage goes beyond feelings. It's great that we love each other. It's a great foundation. Love is a great foundation. But then, so most people attribute love to feelings. It's the little butterflies that they feel. It makes them feel good. And all of that. And this is where there's a lot of misconception, because now people, one day they are in love with this person,
And
the next they're out of love. But more
I
than
don't feel
anything, you see, love is a commitment. So if you're gonna choose to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you need to look beyond the superficial. You need to look beyond the I love you. You need to ask yourself, can I commit to this person every single day? As a woman, the question that I asked myself was, can I honor this man for the rest of my life? Because honoring him looks like me honoring God, according to the Bible. So, because the Bible calls a woman to do what? To submit.
Yeah.
Now you can't submit under somebody that you don't honor.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem becomes. Most of us love men, but we can't submit to them. And there's a problem, because now if he's the head of the home, if he's the head and he's supposed to lead me, then I need to submit to his instructions. The same way God can give instructions. If you don't submit under him, if we don't honor him, we can still choose to do our own things. You see? So there's that factor that I need to now ask myself those important questions. And as a woman, for me, I had to also look at, is my future safe with this person? the ambitions I have or whatever purpose God has called me into, does that look similar to his? Because when we come together, the two shall become one. If now we are having two different directions, if I want to travel the world, for example, and he wants to settle then and everything, already we are heading into two
As
different
two people
directions.
cannot walk together
You
if
see?
they don't agree.
And agreement would look like compromise. One of us has to let go of the other thing, you see. So it was also the thing of looking into the fact that looking at the future, is my future safe here?
I mean, safe argument is it? Because these days I was out there. Because these days they'll tell you that your future, safety of your future lies into the depths of your pocket.
I mean, the thing with making such a lifelong decision based on money or even based on superficial stuff is the fact that you could have a good job, have a good car, and you can lose it tomorrow. What?
I feel like you need to talk to some of the ladies. Maybe someone needs to hear this one. Please go on this one.
Maybe do share, because I heard him asking us about our relationship, before we got married. So maybe in the same light, just try and talk about where you met me, how you met me, in terms of the material aspect of things. Then probably that will somehow motivate or will give an idea in light of his question.
So when we started dating, I was still in varsity.
Okay.
So I was still a student. And he was still studying up. That he was doing motivational speaking, writing books and all of that. So it was still like a startup,
I hope it didn't come with a poem.
You know what I had for him?
Okay.
I mean, he got me, so it's fine. So he was still trying to like find his feet, more than anything. I think many a times, like people go into a relationship because they're seeking for something. Like some people they are seeking for financial relief. Other people it's emotional relief, and stuff. And so it really hinders one from seeing the person, who the person truly is, And we live in a world whereby people say love is money. Without love is what makes money is what makes the love sweet, which is true. But then what we fail to understand with that is we want fast stuff.
Yeah.
You see,
I mean, 30 seconds video today. 30 minutes one.
Reels.
A life based on reels. Very big that, yeah.
Yeah, so and then after that, so he was really like just starting up with his stuff, and it was just a matter of supporting him through all of that. I don't think I had any financial expectations for him,
okay.
while we were dating. I think my parents raised me pretty well, not to always be independent.
But at least he was giving something,
Yeah, but I don't have to ask for it.
Oh, okay.
You see, I don't have to ask. If somebody's gonna give, they're gonna give.
So don't you think maybe if he's not giving, that's one of the red flags, this man is stingy or something?
I mean, it is a red flag that he's stingy, but my thing is, if you have to ask him, then it means maybe he doesn't share, like you say, like stingy and all of that. But then sometimes you can also see where the person is. So I can't go and start asking you, like, let's say, give me 50,000 when I know you don't earn 50,000.
Yeah.
That's unreasonable. Do I want you to go and get thief? Maybe I want you to go steal so you can satisfy my lifestyle, some of my lifestyle or my standards, and that's what is basically happening today. Whereby we have a lot of people who are in a relationship with men, they don't know where the money comes from, but the money just comes in. As long as they're getting the money, they are okay.
I actually think, John, just to back up what you're saying, I actually think to a certain extent it's also people are into relationships, but then they lack transparency.
Yeah.
You see, there's that lack of transparency. And these are some of the things that will hinder you to basically commit into the relationship as we are heading toward, as we're still talking about the transition. Uh, the lack of transparency is one thing that actually kills a lot of relationships, which could have basically transitioned even into marriages. For instance, guys would come and lie to women about their sources of income.
Now, wait, I just on that one, particularly, okay, on your relationship, what point that really you dealt with talking about transparency? How did that go?
Well, I think for me, I'm a type of person that from an initial point of view, where when I get to know, when I get to meet somebody, I lay all my cards open. I'm not the type who will hide one card because I'm trying to get something else. So I will be, if I don't tell you verbally with my mouth, but I will ensure that my actions basically displays what I am about. So if I don't have anything, I'm not gonna pretend that I have something. So basically from when we met, I was already open with her. Like, she saw where my company was. She saw the office, how it looked like.
She knew what you were earning.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I would actually tell her how much I would be making from books. For instance, if let's say there's somebody who's coming to publish a book from me, I would actually tell her, hey, I've got a client. And I would always keep her updated whenever I have a client. So it's not like I would be hiding things from her. So from the very onset when we were dating, already, yeah, I was already transparent as far as my finances were concerned, even as far as many other stuff were concerned. And I think that's what kills a lot of relationship when there's a lack of transparency.
Yeah, because now you're gonna create an expectation that you can't sustain.
Yeah, like, imagine if I had started coming to you and bringing you gifts already, Dolce and Gabbanas, and say it would have been great to impress you.
You're like the great.
You know, to impress you. But at that stage, I did not have the finance to go buy those stuff. You see, so I would get you the stuff that my pocket could afford.
Yeah.
You see, but then today that's not the case. I've heard of stories of guys who they studying. Their parents send them money to go to school, but then they're using that money to take the girlfriend out on vacations and stuff like that. So you're creating an illusion into this girl's life. And then she's thinking, wow, my guy is balling and stuff. Whereas in reality, you're not balling, you're broke, bro.
You are literally,
You're broke. You're just using your father's money, which was meant to pay your school fees.
Not for this girl.
You see, and then this girl, you've built up all those expectations in her, and then the day that she now also makes a demand, when you're not taking her out going to vacations anymore, when she makes a demand, you are no longer able to do that. Then the relationship start breaking. You see, so. And I'm just using that aspect of an example. There are so many other examples that we could use in that aspect.
Like in terms of creating unrealistic expectation, it's not just in terms of finances. It's even in terms of when people oversell themselves. You know, like, because obviously the beginning of anything, you want to overdo, you want to impress the next person. You want to tell them, you want to sell them the world, you know? Like, he knew from the onset that I was really not so with words. You know, I was not really, you can write a whole speech, actions speak louder.
This sounds like certain interruption. This sounds like those people that write on a job CV, on a CV.
Yes.
They've got qualifications that,
I mean, things that they have never done before, experiences. When you try to even study the timeline, they're like,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all, you know? Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, so I think we've gotten to a point whereby some people get into relationship, like even marriage, never mind relationship, like even marriage with a lot of baggage. You know, one thing I always say is marriage exposes one.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I use the word expose is because now you're in the spotlight. You know, all the things you are hiding. It's easy to hide if we're meeting up for 2 hours within the 24 hours. I can bring my best self, you know, to the date. You know, make sure that I'm smiling, make sure I'm happy, everything is wow. But then you can't hide under the radar if you're spending 24 hours with the person.
Yeah.
You see, it's a different ballgame. So now it's a thing whereby now when you are married, there are certain things that begin to come out that you even thought, oh my God, I thought I had dealt with this. You know, those kind of things. Why? Because especially, like you said, especially if there wasn't transparency in the beginning. So whether it's finances are a huge thing in marriage. You know.
Yeah.
Whether it's communication, that's a huge thing in marriage.
Fair.
You know. So it's those little things. So if we're not sitting down and talking and asking the hard questions, if we're not doing it now, we're gonna do it later, but later it's gonna come with consequences. Because now, later means we've bound ourselves. Really.
So that stage, how long did that take you? Like to transition?
Well, we dated. We didn't use the time frame to decide as to now we want to transition into marriage, because what had happened is that when we met, for me, when I met her with a single focus. I already knew what exactly I wanted to do with her. So it's not like it was a trial to try and see if it's gonna work. Let me give it 2 years. Let me give it 3 years. I went there with a purpose, and I had laid it out already to her from the word go. So all that was lacking within the time frame was the means to make it happen. And when I talk about the means, I'll talk about the financial means to basically say that, oh, you know what, now we can transition into marriage. But then I remember once, it was during lockdown. And I tell you, during lockdown, things just went so sour for me financially, because at that moment a lot of things were closed down. So basically, there weren't so much revenues coming in. So then I remember one day on my birthday, my mom, she made a joke. She asked me, "When are you getting married?" I told her, "Hey, I can't get married now because I don't have the money. I don't want me to get married whilst I don't have money." Then she told me something which I never forgot. She said, "With marriage, it's not about money. You just have to decide." She told me that it has everything to do with your decision. Then when she said that, I sat down. I was like, what does she mean by that? I just have to decide. Okay, I'm deciding that I'm gonna get married. Then what? But then I took those words literally. That is why I think there is so much power in words, basically. And a lot of people think it's just a cliche when the scripture says that life and death lies upon your the power of the tongue. They think it's a cliche, whereas it's not a cliche, it's a reality. So I took those words, my mom's words, literally. I was like, okay, I have to decide that I'm gonna get married. And I decided. I actually made it a point that I said to myself that in 2021, this year, I must go see the parents.
Okay.
And in that moment, I had nothing with me. Literally, I'm speaking from I'm speaking facts. But when I say I had nothing, basically I had nothing. My account was sitting on a negative. So now,
Yeah, that feeling.
I'm actually disclosing this. So when I made that decision, I remember I spoke to her, and then I told her, what does it take to come see your parents? She told me, well, you have to write a letter, and then in that letter just put in money, some money, the envelope. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do that. And then I even gave her the dates. I told her, I think it was we're supposed. I told you that I was gonna give you the date. I think it was on the 30th of August.
And when you gave her the date, you still had nothing.
Nothing. I had nothing when I spoke to her. I had nothing. So I told her that on the 30th of August, I'm gonna give you the envelope and stuff. So on that day, basically, we went out. We went to some gallery in Rosebank. And at that moment, I had nothing. I had $150 with me.
Wow.
I had $150 with me. So we went out. She didn't know that I only had $150. And in that moment, we're supposed to go back to my uncle's place. We're gonna go chill at my uncle's place. So I paid the transport and stuff, and then she asked for KFC. Then in my head, I was like, I buy the KFC. That's a lot. So that at least we can take an Uber back home. So when we got the KFC and then we traveled back. And as we traveled back, I was left now with nothing in my pocket. So we're chilling there, busy talking with my uncle, making jokes and stuff. And that was the day that I'm supposed to give her the envelope. Actually, oh yeah. Okay. So we said and we're busy talking. And okay, let me just go back a little bit. Before that, I had prayed. I told God that, listen, I'm taking this step, and you give me a sign to know that if she's the one, I must get the finances in order to make this thing happen. So yeah, we came back. We're chilling with my uncle and my cousins and stuff. We're just laughing and all that. And in my heart, there I was like, hey, and today is supposed to be the day that and you said, what happened? Nothing. And I was like, what story am I gonna tell?
And she was expecting.
She was expecting, basically, yeah, because the dad was supposed to travel. It was supposed to travel, so I needed to give that envelope before the dad travels. So we sat there and we're talking. It was around 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and we're just talking and nothing. I was just like, maybe I'm gonna have to tell her a story. That was the last option in my head. I'm gonna tell her a story. I'm a writer. I can. so, so as we're busy talking and chilling, I get a WhatsApp message from a client who was like, "Hey, bro, I need to print some books. Please, I need them by Wednesday. If you can do for me this favor, please." I told him, hey, then that will have to be an express work. So it means you need to send the money now and do a pay and clear. He's like, no problem, I'm gonna do that now.
Oh wow.
So the guy sends money and that right away. And you know what? When he sent the money, it was a Saturday, and that's why I even told him that do a pay and clear.
So it doesn't have to do an extra day.
So he did the pay and clear, and I got the cash. And oh boy, the confidence I had in that moment there was just
And
then I was even started making more jokes and stuff. And then afterward, I told her, hey, we need to go to the ATM so that we can withdraw money. So we went to the ATM. That's how we drew the cash. And then I gave her the money. She then went, and then the rest became history.
Wow. This is so interesting. So literally you had nothing, but from the word that your mom told you, it kind of opened up your mind. It's, wait, I think she's right.
Absolutely.
I have to go with.
Absolutely. And as believers, we need to as I quoted the scriptures, that life and death is upon the power of the tongue. We need to understand the importance of words, and this goes beyond just what I just explained now. It revolves around everything that has to do with our lives, with marriages, with relationships. If you keep on talking negatively about your relationship or your marriage or your husband or your wife, you are basically destroying whatsoever that you are trying to build from a spiritual perspective, which will definitely materialize in the physical perspective. So, for me, I don't play around with words. Words are very, very important. So from that word alone, that word was a seed that was planted in me and which produced a family today.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So, you mentioned something that from the get-go, you were straight. Now, talking about how straight you were, obviously we have different types of relationships, right? We have our friendships, things like that. Did you guys transition from one of those relationships, or you just observed her from far? Then the moment you approached her, you were straight to the point.
So what had happened is that I knew her for a while. Not knowing on a personal level though, we just know each other as, hey, it was
Sister or
it was through I met her through a friend's ministry.
okay.
Yeah, I met her through a friend's ministry. They used to pray together and all that. I was once invited to the prayer meetings to share and stuff. And then, well, I saw her just like every other girls that were seated there. I did not really have any sort of intention.
Was she working in the church or she was just sitting?
No, I think she was just coming to attend as well. Yeah, she was just attending as well. So we just knew each other like that. We would have conversations, but it never transitioned to, hey, I like you whatsoever. So I remember how did it even start?
We were never friends. That I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So you met her in the context of a church,
Yeah.
right? So in spiritual stuff, and then
So
did you?
I'll just answer this, right? So basically what happened is we used to meet at a lot of the prayer meetings, right? Different prayer meetings, even like when you would have the ones at the, because they were friends, right? So they knew each other, so they would invite each other when they have events. Like let's say if this one's having a community mall, they would invite each other and stuff. So that's how we got to like be in the same place at the same time in most cases, but we were never friends. For one, when we started talking, I think we went straight to the point.
Yeah.
Oh, but before then, you guys never had like long conversations. It was just
Not really. I think we maybe started like on Facebook, maybe.
Yeah, we started Facebook and then we exchanged numbers on WhatsApp and then we started chatting.
Yes.
I think we chatted for about a month or so, if I'm mistaken. And then and then in the process, but then I was like, hey, you know what?
So what makes you or made you transition, from just normal, chats? Did you see something particular in her?
For me, I think the first element that pulled me toward her was seeing that she was dedicated when it came to the whole godly things.
Okay.
You see, to the whole godly things. I think that attracted me to her. Yes, of course, you would see also other girls out there, but then there's always that one person that attracts you based on certain values that you have. And one of the values for me was the spirituality aspect. So I guess that's what really attracted me to her and started the conversation in that angle.
So like she responded to one of
Yeah.
your criteria.
Yeah.
Now, going back to her, did you see him? Okay, did you find the man that you were dreaming of? Because I know ladies, yeah, especially they have dreams, yeah, and more than a man, yeah, they can dream forever. So when he came to you, did you really, really find the man that you've already dreamt of?
I think I don't know if you're thinking maybe I have like a list of. I never had that, to be fair.
Okay.
I never had like a list of you must be like this.
So you're just expecting anyone who could come through.
Not necessarily anyone, but I wouldn't say I had a list. I think more than anything, I relied on, especially when it came to like relationships, and all of that. I relied mostly on God to make that decision, And what I mean by that, I'm not saying just because he's in church, then it means he's a godly man. There are even witches are in church.
Yeah.
Demons are in church too. So for me, it was the fact that he was very dedicated, not just to like church, right? But even in his own work, So I think like what I mean by we were never friends, it was in a sense of he didn't come to me and pretend to be like, what people do nowadays? Like when you pretend to be somebody's friend wanting something more. You understand? Now a friend zoned you. And now later you're telling me, no, actually what I wanted was this. It actually makes the whole thing awkward. Especially if, like you said, if you don't meet my criteria now. There's no other side. You understand? So for me, so when I said yes, it was yes. I would say he met the list. If that list.
Okay.
That's why I said yes, because I wouldn't say yes to be with somebody that I don't find that this might work. So it was a thing that, okay, we'll get to know each other. We'll take things slow and get to know each other, build a friendship, and then take it from there. Because like I told him, I'm like, I've heard what you've said, and I'm willing for us to go through the process as well.
Mm. All right. So how long that did that process take?
The process of
When you guys started now in that relationship, when you went straight to the point, then how long did that take until you literally officialized everything? Like a year, 2 years, or because I know.
No, I think it took quite a while.
yeah, it took a long time.
I think it took quite a long time. As I said, it was due to many factors, because at that moment, on a personal level, as I said, I was not financially ready. I was still in the process of building myself.
And I'm still in school.
She was still in school. We were still at varsity. So
Last year or
no, I think she was doing a first year, right?
Yes.
First or second year. Yeah, for first or second year.
Second year.
Second year, yeah. So she was doing a second year at varsity, and at that moment, I was still trying to build myself. I was unknown at that moment, so I was laboring quite a lot, trying to build a reputation and name, and trying to establish the business for myself and stuff like that. So basically, all those aspects somehow prolonged the whole process until we started seeing the light. So until I started seeing the light within my own things that I was building. So yeah, but that kept us connected.
So honestly, when you spend a long moment in a relationship like this, a romantic relationship, I'm sure there are a lot of things that go
Absolutely.
into that. Okay, can you just go into that? Some of the things that you experienced in that period of waiting. Obviously, you had to wait for her to finish school, then you were also trying to stabilize, your financial life and everything around you, trying to build yourself a name. So, what are the things that you actually went through, struggles and
For me, for one, I think there's also a sense of frustration. Frustration was one of the key thing that we consistently had to fight. Frustration in the sense that you are trying to focus on something that I'm trying to that you're trying to build, and then she's also focusing on her own things, and then there were times whereby it was like we're not speaking the same language. It was like we're not understanding each other um, correctly, through some actions that I would take, and then she would probably will not understand what I'm trying to do, and I think there was a time that I was very frustrated. There were times where I was very very frustrated.
were you on the age of just giving up?
Of course. There were times I was very very frustrated in the entire process, because especially if you are in a domain or in an industry where you're working for yourself and you are trying to build something from scratch. It's different from somebody who has a job and they get a salary at the end of the month. And that for me was one of the biggest I think that I had to really fight, because at the same time you are the brain to the business, and at the same time you also have to entertain a romantic relationship, and at the same time you have to get funds to do this and to do that,
And for her as well.
for her, and it was just too much at a certain time. It was really too much at a certain time. So um but I thank God that we
Okay, so that's on his side. What about your side? Being in varsity and then he was trying to do something, and what happened during that process?
I think more than anything, it's also a matter of being in two different what do I put it? being in two different stages of life.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what it was. Because he was trying to build from scratch. He was not living at home. He was living alone. He saw his sense of responsibility and my sense of responsibility were two different things. Because I was living at home, with my parents, and all of that. So the frustration came in a sense that my demands or what I would want for him, because I'm like, but we're not spending enough time, and they'd be like, no, but I'm busy. I'm like, what does busy mean? There's all of that, but like you just mentioned now, it's just a thing of because we're in two different spaces of life, that sort of created the frustration as well, added more than anything to the frustration. And it took transparency to more than anything to actually bring us back to not, I wouldn't say bring us back to not to confusion.
Did you get to a point where you fought because of this?
No. Yes, I'm not. I mean, if you're not fighting, it means you should be dead. Even in marriage, if you're not fighting, and I'm not talking about physical fighting, I'm just talking about anything
Disagreeing on.
you fight for. Anything that means something to you, you fight for.
So what are the things that you did in order to come through to actually solve this issue during the process, so that this maybe can help someone or two people that are still living thus, or they're going through the same thing? What are the things that you guys did? Because you was in another space different from yours, and how did you meet together till the end?
I think it had to come down to wanting the same thing, fighting for the same. It had to come down to that, because at the end of the day, like I said, if you have to speak marriage, we have to speak one direction. We have to speak one language. When the Bible says the two shall become one flesh, not one spirit, one flesh. Can you imagine the challenge it is to combine two different fleshes? Because the Bible also talks about the desire of the spirit and the desires of the flesh are not the same. So which means bringing two flesh to become one, it's bringing two desires to become one, two ideas becoming one, two opinions becoming one. Because in spirit, we're already united through Christ, you see? So that's the challenge. So it was that. It had to come down to us fighting for the same thing.
And it goes back to what I said initially in the beginning, that it's important to understand the person that you are getting to know, or the person that you want to be involved with. And what I mean by understanding, it's more of, can I be a helper to you? Can I be of benefit to you? Um, can I be that one person who will take you from point A to point B? And number two, it also comes down to you also accepting to be helped at the same time.
Yeah.
You see, because for me, I'll just go back of it. During those frustration times, you will get a lot of temptations and a lot of ideas to wanna probably get to know somebody else in the process who will help you.
That's actually one of the questions I even wanted to ask, if you had some other options around. Because you've been in that space where, you know what, you're looking at another stage of life, but she's still behind somewhere there. So
yeah. So as I brought that in, it comes out. It will also come down to that. To a point whereby you seeing that the person that you're with is no longer helpful, is no longer taking you to the place that you think and you feel like you have to reach. Because I reached a point whereby I begin to understand. I understood that I was talented. I understood that I had the gift. I understood that I had should I say, the charisma to get to a certain point. You see, and the signs were there. The signs started showing, because now I started getting invited in different places. I started getting invited for newspapers interviews at
Was she still relevant?
I'm telling you.
I didn't answer to you.
Yeah.
I started getting invited by Daily Sun newspapers. I started getting invited by radio stations and stuff like that. So then I needed now to transition from the level that I was on to a different level.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I needed the person that I was with to take
Follow
me
you.
there, or okay, not really to follow me, but to help me push
Okay.
me to get to now that
where-
breakthrough.
Mm.
You see, but to a certain extent, it felt like she was still a bit behind.
Mm.
You know, it felt as though she was still a bit behind, and that way the frustration also now started coming in, like really coming in, and now when you start getting exposed like that, now you start getting people into your into your DMs, in events that you go, people start getting interested in you and stuff, and now
And you look basic.
and it's like, yes, you know. You know, I remember actually once
Yeah.
there was this lady who came from America. Um, I think she was a little bit older than I, and then we met in the office where I was renting. She she was somebody introduced her to me. He was like, "Oh no, he's a publisher. He also does talks and all those kind of stuff." She was interested. "Oh yeah. So what do you do and all that?" And then I told her what I do, and then she was like, "Anyway, I have my grandmother's book that I would want you to basically publish for me as I go back to America. I would like to gift this as a present for her birthday. She was turning, I think, 90 or something." And I was like, "Oh, great!" So I started working on the book and stuff. So one day there was a prophet who came into the place we were working. And I knew him, but not that close. I knew him through somebody else.
Okay.
So now he knew what I was doing and all that. So then he once told me, I was like, "The man of God, do you know that during those times I was already calling him man of God. Do you know that sometimes, because on that day that woman came, he saw me with the lady as we were talking and stuff. Then he was like, do you know that sometimes God can take you to places through people, and you might think that God will take you along with the person that you are with, but then he will take you along with somebody else."
12 years.
Like the name of this man of God.
Wow. Okay. So how did that go?
Nah, I never pursued anything with that lady, because I think she was coming actually to South Africa because she had a boyfriend here. So I think that's
Yeah, so when you talk about this, I want you to give direct advices to those people that may be in the same stage.
Can I please just say something?
Yeah, please go.
I don't want us to mislead the people, right? In the sense of, don't fight for something that's not worth fighting for, right? I feel like the first question should be, are you in the right relationship? Right? And more than anything, if you are Christian, you know what the standard for the right relationship is. And if you are not Christian, you also know what the standard for the right relationship is. So if you are in a relationship with somebody and you say, I'm a new birth, I'm a born again, I believe in Christ, I'm filled with the Holy Spirit, you should be looking for the same person. You know, but not every person that is born again should be your spouse.
Yeah.
You understand? So it comes down, especially when it comes to the question of relationship and marriage, it's very important that you are in the right one first. You are with the right person. Then we can fight and, fight all these temptations and all of these things together, because this is God's will for our lives and we are honoring God even in our relationship. Because I feel like there's a misconception. There are people who are out there in relationships. They've been in relationship for so long. They're not even honoring God in that relationship. And they're still asking God, is this the right person for me? Like how?
Yeah, but can you try and go deeper? Let's not speak in parables. honoring God in the relationship. That means abstaining from sexual intercourse.
I actually wanted to go there,
Yes.
that's physical,
Yes.
part of things. Obviously, we are human beings. And the longer it takes, our bodies just kind of give up on us sometimes.
No, but I'm talking about honoring God in not just because some people abstain from that, but then they do other things. Because there's many questions of how far is too far. I mean, if you're asking that question, you've already gone too far. That's the reality of it. So I'm talking of it in a sense of honoring God not just with your bodies, but honoring God also with your mind. Honoring God fully. When Romans says, offer your body as a living sacrifice and all of that. So if you want to honor God like that, you need to find somebody who shares the same value or shares the same ideology with you in order for you guys to actually be able. Because nowadays, some people rush into marriage because they're like, to
They've been
avoid.
abstaining for long.
Not even that, to avoid the temptation. Do you understand? So now they've reduced marriage to the physical aspect of it.
Well, okay, just on that one, the Apostle Paul said this, in 1 Corinthians 7, that it's better to get married than to burn with passion.
Of the desire.
I didn't say it's better to get married to the wrong person.
Okay, yeah.
Do you understand where the thing comes into? It's that marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is a blessing.
Because someone can use this Apostle Paul and say, you know what, they just get into this.
Marriage is a very marriage is a blessing. But marrying the right person is even better. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's important more than anything.
Okay, so now maybe the next question that's the viewer that might be asking themselves is, what do you mean by marrying the right person? Because I think that's the key. And of course, every person has a different ideology of what the right person is, but there are certain fundamental fundamental attributes that can give you indication of what is the right person or who is the right person, so that you can then take that decision to transition from just being or to know that now this is the one, you know. So maybe we can elaborate more on that, as far as what do you mean by the right person.
Okay. Hey.
Well, anyways, this is what that means for you.
For you,
Okay.
Remember that they're different from different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I started considering marriage, because we as women, most of us are in love with the idea of marriage and not necessarily marriage itself. Does that make sense?
Okay.
We love the idea of marriage, as in like, oh, it's pictures, it's memories, the wedding.
Yeah.
We're in love with the idea of wedding and all of that, and not necessarily marriage itself.
Like the movies.
Yeah, so I think for me, when I used to, first of all, personally, when I used to think marriage, I used to have a lot of anxiety. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna spend the rest of your life with this person, Never mind this man, like with the person every day. What if you get bored? So I had like a lot of questions, there was a lot of questions. And I remember I started getting like a lot of anxiety around the world, even idea of marriage. But then I was like, this might be the enemy planting some seed into me, because now he might be planting doubt, and I don't want to speak anything that will now come back, or that I will see take shape that I don't want. So I then started praying for my heart, first of all. I started praying for my heart in terms of the whole idea of marriage. Because I'm like, God, marriage is something that I do. I do want to be married. I don't think I'm ready now for marriage. I think that during that time, he was ready. He was like, I want to get married. And I was like, are you too young to get married now? And stuff like that. So then I started praying for my heart. And I just started like surrendering that part or that anxiety to the Lord first, and just asking him for his direction. Like what is it that he wants? What is his will? and stuff like that. And I remember during that time, I spent a lot of time in prayer, actually. I spent a lot of time in prayer to just ask what God's will was, especially because I wouldn't say I was scared, but I had a lot, because I'm like, divorce is not an option. So if I'm going to do this, it has to be once and it has to be right, because divorce is not an option. So then I can't make such a huge decision, life-altering decision on my own. See? Yeah. So I then started praying about it. And after that, there was a lot of peace that came with it, with the decision. There was a lot of peace. And I even had received like a few confirmation from a few people, but thank God they were just confirmations, because I wouldn't want to mislead anybody to be like, go get married because somebody else came to tell you that this is what it's supposed to be for your life. Because you don't want to make such a decision based on somebody else, what they've heard from the Lord. You need to hear from the Lord for yourself. You need to know what the Lord wants for you. So I prayed a lot about it. And I think right after I had surrendered that, I think that's when everything started just falling into place for us. More than anything. Everything just started. I think the moment we decided to like get married, everything just, I think within a year, I think within a year.
There must be some sort of attributes that you've seen in that person that you want to pursue in that person. It's not just prayer, because everybody prays. If it's prayer, everybody prays. I'm getting spiritual. Everybody prays, but then there must be some attribute. For instance, like for me, yes, praying was one part, which I'm not denying the fact of prayer. As I narrated earlier on, saying that I prayed and then God showed me the signs and stuff like that. But then, what is that one thing that really pushed me to want to be with it? That is what we want to hear. So for me, it was more of the organizational skills that she had, or she still has, in a sense that if you want to do something, she has that capacity to organize.
So literally right now, you're talking about some of the qualities that
Yes,
found in her that has made you pursue
that. Yeah,
pursue the relationship.
you see, yeah, because as a matter of fact, you might find yourself not dating, but then getting to know different people. While having a conversation with a lady, you might pick a brain like, this one, no. This one will finish all my money. This one, no. The way she thinks, the thinking level is not is not that what highly elevated. You see, so there are those things. So for me, was that organizational skills, in a sense that she's if let's say that there's a project that we want to undergo, she has that capacity to say, you know what, seeing that we are at this level, how about we do it this way.
So you did also a business partner somehow.
Yes. Seeing that, for instance, you are making, let's say, I'm just giving a rough example. We are making 50K per week, but then we want to get that instrument, this, and that. Instead of spending all the 50K, how about we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? You see, so that skill is very important. That's an element of being a helper. You see that when God says she's a helper, you need to pick all those things. It's not just about praying. Because many women these days, if you rock up in church, they're all praying. You see? But then will that prayer really help you to be the best version of who you want to be? Yes, it can to a certain extent. But then there must be other attributes as a helper which will help you to get to where you want to be. Adam and Eve, they were in the garden. God placed Adam there to cultivate the land, brought the woman to help him also in the same process.
So for me, it was the fact that if he puts his mind to anything, it's gonna work out, And sometimes I would tease him about the fact that, hey, you're just speaking big here. But half the time I'm able now to pick when he says something and when I know this is what we need to pursue now, because he's not just saying it, and stuff. So I think that is one of the greatest qualities actually about him. So it's the fact that we can evolve, So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to wrap up, as I just said now, how can you help people, let's say, from a man point of view, actually get to that point of identifying those the qualities in her?
For me, I think the first thing it's all about you first as a man being transparent with yourself and identifying and getting to know who you are first, because you will not be able to pick something, an attribute into another person if you've not identified what is it that you are called for or you are purposed for. Because once you know what you're purposed for and then you lay it on the table, then it gives room to that person to now flood around that goal with their different attributes. Then you will be able to start picking what attribute is relevant and necessary for you, because at that stage you've become somehow vulnerable to this person. It's like you are indirectly asking that person to help you. But then if you don't know if you don't know what you want to be helped with, you'll not be able to know what the next person's capacity is. You see, so for me, it started like that. It started on the point where I had to be open, transparent, vulnerable toward her, so that I can be able then to see what are the gifts that she has, or what are the attributes that she has, which are which can contribute, which are contributing factor to the things that God has given me. So for me, I think that's the best way to identify somebody's capacities. It goes on even into a business business industry or business model, whereby as a manager or as a CEO, for you to be able to identify your best employees is to ensure that you share the vision with them. You open up the entire vision of the company to them. By doing that, then you'll be able to start seeing each person's capacities within the vision. I think
aligned with that.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it.
Okay. Thank you for that. Interesting. Yeah. What
So-
about you?
I will answer as the person who's supposed to submit to the vision.
Yeah. From your
Because
point of view.
I'm not bringing the vision. So I think for me, or for many women that want to identify what the qualities are, first of all, they need to, because I feel like there's too many women that don't have a purpose. Some people feel like their purpose to get married. There's nothing they're doing with their lives besides getting married. So marriage is like an escape for them, more than anything. So, for me personally, speaking as a woman, it had to come down to the peace that I have with I wouldn't say my vision, but with what God has, with the calling of God upon my life now in His hand.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where I think I mentioned the trust factor, in a sense that, am I going into good hands that can nurture that? Will He be able to, I wouldn't say better, but more than anything, will you
Harness
harness it, like,
to water it.
because you get some women whereby they have great gifts, and then that gift threatens
The husband. The man.
the husband to an extent whereby he now feels that he needs to put her down. So it's because he doesn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
But if she's in the right hands, he will know what to do.
See, I've turned you into a podcast. I'm beginning to turn into a podcast. Turning into a public.
It's been working. It's been working on the field.
Yeah, so it's that thing, in a sense that as a woman you want to go in an environment that can nurture who you are. The fullness of who you are, the fullness of what God called you to be. And so that comes down to also identifying, do we share similar goals and vision? If he has laid down the vision, does that vision, is it similar to mine?
Or can you
Yes.
bring in?
Can I bring in also what I have, for this to become greater? Like, will it mean I have to lessen myself or to compromise who God has called me in order for me to be with this man? So, yes.
This is so valuable. Any last word before we wrap up completely from any of you?
Well, I think don't believe what people tell you, but more than anything, marriage is real life. There's life after marriage. Marriage is not the destination, it's just a beginning. It's a lifelong journey of learning each other, a lifelong journey of evolving with each other. So we don't stop once we get married. You continue to grow because remember, he's growing on an individual level. I'm also growing as a person. And so we still need to meet each other to still grow. Because if we stop, then it means there's going to be a discord.
Absolutely.
And we're going to drift apart, So it's a constant learning, constant growing, constant nurturing of each other. Marriage doesn't come with happiness. You need to create that. It doesn't come with all the things that you're thinking it comes with. You need to come and work and cultivate the ground in order to see all the things that you want to see. Those picture perfect or whatever marriage or model you have, you need to work for that. To create that. It doesn't come with the marriage. Unfortunately. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think to all men out there, be it you're still single in a relationship or marriage, I think it's important to always cultivate yourself. You must always strive to be better than who you were and who you are. Always be evolving. That means constantly working on your mindset. It's very important because that will actually anchor the respect in the marriage. Because women loves powerful men, and powerful men are built in their mindset. So you must constantly be evolving with new ideas, new strategies, new plans, new if you're into business, new businesses. So you must always be thinking all the time. Don't be in marriage and then you're there seated down, just relying on the things that you used to do in the past. Yes, continue doing what you used to do, but then evolve in the things that you're doing. I think that's what I have to say to every man. That will anchor the respect with your wife, and it will also even be an inspiration for your children, because your children will look up to you. You need to be a hero to your child. Your child needs to believe that my dad can do anything. You see? So that's all I have to say.
Wow. Cultivating yourself. So
Yeah.
this marks the end of this episode. Oof. This was packed with a lot of things. I don't know about you, but yeah, I learned a lot of stuff in this one from this wonderful couple. So if you liked or you enjoyed this episode, do not hesitate to leave some comments below. I mean, we're talking about the signs, or we just finished talking about the signs of a relationship that is worth pursuing. And this spoke about so many things. So if you started maybe from the middle, I would just advise you to go and start from the very beginning. And you can watch it, rewatch it. And talking about this, make sure you click to subscribe to the channel so that every time this episode, things like this get released, you will be the first one to be notified, because this is not a once-off thing. Every 2 weeks, so we're going to be having one episode online. So I'm going to ask you to just share it to the people, single folks out there, even married folks out there. And yeah, and let us know what you want us to talk about. Maybe you have a question, or you feel like they spoke about something that you didn't understand, or you have a question. Just feel free to comment there. They'll probably read your comments and we can arrange on how they will respond to that. So this wraps up our episode from Hi to I Do, building love, marriage, and family. From us and the Shambas to you. See you in the next episodes. Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
you.
Ciao. See you. God.
Woo!